Okay, so I guess we can start now in the interest of the people who have joined already. Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I think the background to this topic that we are going to discuss today, there's nothing that we should be, talking much about it, because this is something that everyone knows, the challenges that we are facing today with respect to the exercising and the testing. And what we have seen is most frequently these exercises or tests, they are done like an eye wash, right? You just need to prove to your top management that everything is fine and the BC plan that you have developed, it's working fine. And, look at this report, we have done this exercise and all. But, somewhere it actually doesn't give the objectivity of that continual improvement, right? As I say always, if you have not found a gap in your exercise, if you have found that everything was working perfectly fine, then you have just wasted your time. Okay, don't do that. Because the moment you do an exercise planning and then execution, there's a lot of effort that goes into that, right? We need to ensure that you actually effectively utilize that time by finding out something new, some new gaps, some new challenges that you thought that, okay, maybe this scenario, if we test, we have never tested this earlier. And this time when we test this, we could find some issues around that particular scenario, situation, or operation related things, resources related challenges. So that should be the focus that I strongly believe in, right? So though when we make the business continuity plan, we think that everything will be working as per the plan, but it doesn't happen like that. And to my theory, what I say is that's why we call it as business continuity plan. We should not call it as business continuity procedure, because it's not a step-by-step process document. The objectivity of plan is it gives you a high-level structure saying that this is what you can do to ensure that you can recover from your disruptions. But then there is a lot of flexibility which you will still have, because you have not developed it as a procedure, you have developed as a plan, right? So that should be the objective. And hence, for understanding how effective that plan is and then how effective it will work when you are into a situation of a disruption, you still have a lot of flexibilities around that. And hence, using that flexibilities in your exercising plan is one of the best way that you can sort of evaluate how effective your plan is and if you need to make any changes around that. So this was something, and then we were in discussion. So Daman and me, we were discussing that maybe this should be some a topic where most of the people would be interested, because we of course see these challenges around the exercising and testing. And the top management always has that thought process that yes, I have all these documents, but I'm not sure how effective they are. Does it work? Will it really help? Right? So there is a need where we can build that confidence on the top management, but by doing a better way of exercising the plan, by doing better things, by doing better tests, right? And again, test versus exercises, that of course is something that Daman will also clarify why we should call test, or what we should call as test versus what we should call as exercises. That is something that we will also look. But the objective is how do we ensure that these things that we are doing from exercise perspective is something that will actually instill the confidence on the top management, right? What do we do? How can we do this better so that the top management always have that confidence that yes, my exercising strategy or the situation or the scenarios or the strategies and solutions that we have developed for the business continuity in my organization, that is something that will really work when the situation is arising out of any disruptions, right? So with that, welcome again. And Daman, thank you so much for joining on this session. I'd like to start with this question, which I just spoke about. What do you think, or how do you think we can instill a better confidence from the top management that whatever we have developed, we are exercising with due diligence? It's not just an eye wash, but we are taking proper care of getting something validated and then improving upon that. So your thoughts on that?
Okay. Thanks, Deepak. First one, are you recording this?
Yeah, we are recording. We are live on YouTube as well.
Okay. And I noticed Matthew Mohan. Is this the same Matthew Mohan?
Matthew Mohan is, he's our team member.
All right. So welcome back, Matthew.
Thank you, Daman sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Deepak, allow me to read through my notes, please.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Leadership's biggest worry is conformance. Conformance to the needs and expectations of the interested parties. And the challenge that I find is that we do not even know who are interested parties. So how do we keep them happy? How do we take care of their needs, expectations, even those are not recorded? So once those need to be recorded, and then we need to have our plans according to that, and then we need to be testing plans that we are able to meet their needs, expectations. The second worry is optimum utilization of the resources. I keep saying this in all my discussions. I believe nothing comes free in this world. So even BCM test is not free. So the moment it's not free, we are spending some time, money, and effort. We should be worried. Top management should be worried about its appropriate utilization. So we need to be reasonable and practicable in our approach to BCM as a whole, but to BCM tests also. And then perhaps a little later, we'll talk about how we can move from, I say, left to right, which means increasing the complexity of your test. Also, full involvement. How will their confidence go up? First, if they know that we are doing good, right? Good with respect to test specifically today, we are discussing that. And there are some people, we will find in any occasion. No, boss, it may be me to you. No, boss, I know you are busy. I will manage. You don't worry. You do worry, please. This is how your confidence will go up and you will be fully involved in the test also. So your involvement, top management leadership's involvement, right from policy to approvals, to audits, to tests. We know one of the tests evacuation drills, and I talk a lot about that. There's so many learning, so many improvements still possible, even with respect to evacuation drills, which is one of the tests of type of test we would say. Top management doesn't. Say that again. Someone please complete this. Top management doesn't evacuate. There are some people in my organization, some people have cried, almost cried. There are some people who do not evacuate. Who are those people? The top management. So if you don't get involved, your confidence will be low. You are looking at your confidence going up, then please get involved in tests also. Communication is very important, people. This is how their confidence will go up. Whatever I have done, whether I go and speak, I must tell them. Whether I have gone and attended the training, I should tell them. Whether I'm delivering a training, whether I'm attending a seminar. So keep them involved. Their confidence will go up. Yes, the people in my organization, my team is improving upon. Even when I see someone doing it, I learn a little bit. So this is how confidence will go up.
But how to handle that situation, Daman, when we see that top management itself is not vacating and not participating properly in the drills? What has been your experience around that, and what do you think is the right way to get them actually involved? Drag them into the exercises, if I may say so.
Yes. We can use that word drag. So what I said, Deepak, is based on my experiences. Having gone across companies, countries, this is actually a common finding that they do not participate, especially evacuation, as I'm saying. Right? And the way out, if you want to say that, way out or improvement, resolution will be communication. Long ago, when I used to work in UK, there used to be an ad from British Telecom, BT. It's good to talk because when we, the customers, would talk, they will make money. So they would encourage us to talk more. I believe that is talk means communication. That's what I mean to say. We need to communicate. We need to raise their awareness. That their challenge, I believe, is that they do not understand this. So yes, there will be some struggle, Daman, but they don't come even for awareness. It will be difficult, but once you bring them in, tell them the story, their interest will increase, enhance. And this is the good practice. Leaders, top leaders, I'm telling you, these are the good practices. It's not only that you give me budget and wash off the hands. Your full involvement is required. These are the good practices. These are the good practices. We can narrate some examples, samples, something like that. People are looking at you as leaders. I'm talking about myself. I'm looking at you as my role models. So if you do not evacuate, I will also have that tendency, which is not good for you. So practicing what you preach, walking the talk, etc., etc. This is how we'll have to involve them more. And I'm saying based on communication.
I remember one of the example that I'm not sure who was giving that, but a couple of times I have heard that when Infosys used to do their evacuation drill, right? The CEO himself used to stand out at the gate taking the roll count.
Yes.
And that was something that, I mean, it was really a surprising factor for me that, person at that level, he is involved to that detail, that, he himself is taking the count of people who are coming out and all those things. That was really a good example, but I'm not sure how many organizations are doing that currently.
And I'm sure that he wouldn't have to do that every time. He would have to do it only once, perhaps, and that will set the tone right. Yes.
Good point. Yeah.
Yes. So
you will not be there every time.
I'm saying, CEO, you please stand there and do the head count every, but you please stand there, evacuate. People are looking at you. Top management. It's all about people, Deepak. I keep saying in all my discussions, it's all about people. It's human psychology. I create some perception and live with that perception. When I don't see my leadership in evacuation area, that means they're enjoying somewhere. And we are standing here for 10, 15, 20 minutes or half an hour, either in 50 degrees, 45 degrees, too wet, too cold. So if I see those faces around me, I'll be comforted and I'll have confidence. And then this is how they will be setting the right examples.
Okay.
So Infosys would be very good example if that was here.
Yeah. I was really impressed by that because I think more and more organizations should be following something like that, right? Not only evacuation drill, but even in BCP exercise, taking that exercise scenario to a little higher level up to crisis management, and then see that top management can get involved. But anyways, we'll hear from the participants also about their experiences. But before I go to them and then take questions from there, one more thing is very often we have seen, at least I have seen from my experience, that organizations actually design the exercises based on what they have written in the business continuity plan. Right. So if you're doing exercise for your crisis management plan or business continuity plan or ITDR plan, most of your exercises, the scenario would be built based on how you will try to adapt your situation around what is written in the business continuity plan. Now, my question is that the right way of doing things, or do you suggest something else? What are your takeaways from that?
So first response will be yes, Deepak. It has to be according to your plan, because first the story starts from there. Gathering or collecting the requirements, which is BIA. So from BIA to strategies and to plan. Then what is in my plan? That needs to be tested. So we call it picking up the right scenario for your test. If, for example, I'm in Delhi, my organization is in Delhi, then there's no point in testing for tsunami, because that's a very, very low likelihood in Delhi. If I'm in Delhi in NCR, then more relevant scenarios for us are, for example, the NCR is earthquake prone area. We know that it's in seismic zone 5, I guess, I recollect. Or
I think even yesterday or day before yesterday, there were some tremors, right?
Yes.
Yesterday or day before, I think.
It was last evening, I guess.
Last evening, okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I just came to know from the posts various people have mentioned. It was late evening, I think. Right. So that is one of the scenarios that in NCR we should be picking up, being realistic. Also, political unrest. Anywhere in the world, any capital city, political unrest is a bigger risk likelihood. So that needs to be tested. So my plan also needs to be around that. So I will say, yes, what is written in the plan, that needs to be tested. But maybe the plan is not good. If I find in NCR, in my plan, I'm writing tsunami more than the civil unrest, political unrest, or the earthquake, as we are saying. Just recently, I was delivering this course for a major major corporate in India, in-house. And towards end of my discussions, I said this is one of the exercises, one of the many exercises that we did. One of the exercises is now, it's almost last one. You write a test plan because we have understood all the concepts in BC test. So write a test plan. And it was surprising to me. What they wrote was not matching with what they were. Looking at just first look, quick glance, based on maybe experience, I could see and I asked some questions and it came out that it was not matching with their BC plan, the test plan that they had written, which is not good. We need to test what we have written because we have made arrangements according to that. If I said my plan is to move people from Delhi to Pune, right? That should be tested then, but it has to be in the plan. My arrangements have to be according to that, which I'm attempting to test. The objective of the test to see whether the plan and the arrangement would work as I wish, as I desire they should work.
I agree that on that, Daman, but the point is, if we talk about the best practices, right? I think there has to be a surprise element in the exercise, each of the exercise that you do, right? Now, if we keep it very strictly related to the test plan, or sorry, not the test plan, the business continuity plan or ITDR plan, any plan that we are going to exercise, then, I think that nuances of a new type of disruption happening to the organization, that's broken somewhere. Right?
Okay.
Because now you are going very strictly based on what you have written. So if you have not captured something, you'll not try to build a scenario according to that.
Right.
But that's different because the time the disaster happens, the situations can go, in multiple folds. It will not work the way you had written, right? So there needs to be some element of that. So I think there needs to be also some of these surprise elements that should be factored to ensure that the exercise actually brings in some nuances, not the traditional way of how we have been doing exercises on the existing business continuity plans.
Agreed, Deepak. All that I'll say is that we need to look at our maturity also, which is
the good point.
Test that slowly over a period keep increasing the complexity. So bring in this element of surprise. We can do that even if I say my plan is written down, plan is move people from Delhi to Pune, and we have done this 3 or 4 times, assume, right? I can still build it. That's why I say designing and developing a BC test itself is an art. We can build in that. So live example, once again, people have said, Daman, there's one group who do not evacuate, and then another finding, Daman, people do not take it seriously. They do not evacuate. Not top management, not almost no one. Okay, let's attempt to see. I always say, look at human psychology. Think, see, why is the Daman behaving the way Daman is behaving? Then you will be able to find the solution. Talk to people and people say, Daman, in my organization, most of the time this alarm was a fake alarm. Okay, right. So I'm saying fake. So actually not fake, the false alarm. People will say fake alarm, right? It's false alarm. It's not fake. So we don't take it seriously anymore, which is bad, but it's based on their experience also. Or we have done so many times, so people are taking it so easily. Don't take it seriously. All right, in my own organization, then this is what I did with my facilities people. Let's ignite fire now, because people are not taking. We initiate with the press. Alarm goes off and people have to evacuate. Let's initiate the real smoke detection with smoke. So let's ignite fire. How can we ignite fire? We know there are smokes machines available in the market. We got that. When people saw smokes also along with alarm, everyone was in sync. So that's kind of surprise element. Or the moment we feel that people are getting relaxed, find out the reason and attempt to change. We know, as I said, a lot needs to be improved within evacuation drills also, which have been happening for 50 years, 30 years, or 20 years. Change the day and time. People know every time it will be Friday, 3 o'clock, people go home. They don't come back. Daman's family will be happy. Daman came. Oh, that means this was your evacuation drill today. Family is happy. Daman came home early. So change that. If you are working 24/7, then test 24/7 also. The fact is that most even after 20, 30 years, have not tested during those odd hours, which could be little surprise element. So a
One
surprise element has to be there. We need to break that comfort zone where people are falling into, getting relaxed.
Understood. One side question on that, because I think this was discussed in some of the conference. Let's say if there is a false alarm which has been triggered,
Right.
Okay, it happened and then it got triggered,
Right.
and company investigated and found that it was a false alarm.
Right.
Is it good to go ahead and inform that sorry, it was a false alarm, or it should be just kept as if it was planned, and then this was just to create that real awareness on if you hear something like that, you should be vacating the building and all. So just want to hear from you, because people were divided on this thought process, because someone said that yes, I think they should inform that it was a false alarm, but even to my thought process, I think we should not inform that unless it is happening every 2 hours, 3 hours, and your buzzer is going on. That is something that people will understand that these are false alarms.
Right.
But let's say if it happens once a while, should we actually inform that the employees that it was a false alarm?
I guess we have a difference of opinion on this one.
Okay.
I know there will be two views on this always. So my view is that we should admit if it was false alarm, we should admit it was a false alarm, which tells people that no one is perfect. We may be a great organization. We are proud of our organization. We are proud of our BCMS also, our other elements also, but there is a possibility something going wrong. So we admit this was a false alarm, but if it keeps happening again and again, people will lose faith in our BCMS. People will start losing faith in our process and arrangements. That's we will have to ensure that we fix it fast and do it right then next time. But
yeah, because somewhere
admit that it was a false alarm.
Yeah, somewhere this is also related to the communication aspect of how you are planning the exercises and conducting the exercises.
Communication plays a great role in BCMS.
Absolutely. So I'm just thinking that, if let's say you actually inform people saying that it's a false alarm,
right,
and next day something happens, will people actually think that maybe this is also false alarm? That mindset may get created, and hence my thought process was different, but it is good to hear from your side.
I agree with you, Deepak, what you're saying. I'm not denying that. This is then taking us towards culture. And we know there is difference in some countries with respect to our countries and with respect to the Western world. And I give this example in my discussions also. I bring it to then fire alarm testing. Do you conduct fire alarm testing? Some people don't even understand that point. This is the fact. Then someone says, yes, when once in a year, once in 6 months, whatever is the frequency of evacuation drill. And when do you conduct? Over a weekend. Oh my God, there are so many improvements possible. Go to the Western world. Fire alarm test is weekly, fixed day, fixed time, full stop, no questions asked. There'll be disturbance to business. No, they manage. First is, this is human life we are talking about. That's why this is so much important that weekly fire alarm test has to happen. But you have been told this day, this time, 10 o'clock is assumed, Tuesday morning is the fire alarm test. So if alarm goes up, don't worry. Oh, but at the same time, you have been trained. This is where the maturity comes into picture. You also have been told that any alarm that goes off for more than 15 seconds, 20 seconds, please take it seriously, even if it is 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and please evacuate. So the learning there is, teaching there is, alarm is to be taken seriously, full stop. Leave the business gets disturbed, don't worry, first take care of life. And then to control that disturbance, to minimize the disturbance, BC test will create some disturbance. Any BC test will create disturbance. So the good practice is least disturbance. Alarm goes off, at least for a second, I'll have to think, oh, Tuesday 10 o'clock, I continue working. But they have been told the difference between the tone of the alarm, that a test alarm will be this tone and a real alarm will be this tone. Any alarm that goes for long, more than 15, 20 seconds, please take it seriously, evacuate, even if it turns out to be false alarm later on. That we'll see later. But first is, human life needs to be taken care of.
Okay, so that's a good point. I think, yes, of course, the culture of the organization plays an important role there.
I'm not saying coordination only legal. It's perhaps
Hmm.
the country as a whole also.
Of course,
The
of
world
course.
has some differences
Yeah. The
from region to
geographies, the
region.
culture, the traditions of that country and all, everything plays an important role.
Exactly.
Before I go to the next question, I would like to hear if participants have any questions for Daman. Please feel free. You can unmute, you can come on video, you can ask
Yes.
the questions. If you're
Actually,
not comfortable in coming on video, you can ask without coming on video. But
yeah.
yes, please go ahead if you have any other questions before I move to my next question.
Hi, Daman. This is Kumar here.
Kumar, yes, please.
Daman, I just had a question on the topic that we were discussing on. We have scheduled evacuation drills conducted,
Right.
as you said, every Tuesday or every Wednesday, whichever day it is or whichever time it is.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
This is not what I said.
Okay.
Evacuation drill, perhaps not weekly. No, even once in a quarter is good according to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So the first fire alarm test I was saying is a weekly exercise.
Okay.
In the Western world as a good practice. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So whichever frequency it is, maybe a weekly or a monthly or a quarterly basis. Which one would be better, a prior intimation about the test or a surprise one? Obviously the surprise one is much better than the one that is already intimated to people.
Right.
But would would a proper intimation prior to the test give a better result than a uninformed test?
Right. So once again, first I will say frequency. When the moment we are saying test, right, then it is not weekly, etc. This is too much we are talking of. So once again, we will say quarterly, half yearly, or yearly. Whether it needs to be, should be announced or unannounced, actually we have touched upon, but I'll repeat. Good practice is that we need to increase complexity of the test over a time, slowly. There's no point in, if it's first test for us, if we are not matured enough, we should not do unannounced.
Right.
When we are planning to fail is not good word, right? Let's say there will be chaos. So first time do it known, second time known to few people, and third time maybe known to none. Again, at least few people will still be known, should be known. All right. This is how slowly I'll say make the difference, please. And then
Okay.
keep the day and time. Otherwise, people know Thursday, this is test
Yeah,
only.
exactly.
I'm this is as the top management does, right? I'm busy discussing $1 million deal. Shall I evacuate or shall I take care of business? Please evacuate.
Yeah.
We will manage. Trust us. We are with you. This is
Okay.
life we are talking about. We need to practice this. Please
Great.
evacuate.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Daman.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Demon, yes.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yes, I want to know, what if you are doing an exercise and you want to confirm that the action plans coming out from this exercise has been fully implemented. So you are going to do again the same test with the assumption that the action plans have been implemented. So at the end of the test, you possibly will find that the test is a very good success because there's no action plan, no more action plan to do because people have implemented the previous action plan. So I wanted to know if it's a good way or you should just go ahead with the complexity and not doing again the same complexity level in the test. Thank you.
So thanks, Jonathan. I may be making a little change in your question also, but attempting to answer that this way. The first point is, I shouldn't be too happy if there is no finding, if there is no action for my test. Right? It's very difficult, I'll say. Nothing is impossible, but very difficult. Any organization that says that there was no failure, let's not use it. That there was no action item emerging. Right? It may be zero recorded, not zero happening. So maybe a process itself is then questionable. Or when I teach BC test, I go back to my coding programming days. When I would code a program, I would have to test it. Exactly same Concepts are applicable to BC test also. I could write a test, start and jump to exit. My program will work 100% times. No failure at all. This I can do in BC test also. But that doesn't mean that it's a good test that I have designed, right? Second point is if I find too many, even that is not good, right? Then questionable that perhaps your preparation itself was not good. Then your BC plan was not good. Your arrangements were not good. Or maybe your BAA was not good because you're not able to meet your RTOs. Deviation plus minus 10% is okay. But if my deviation is 50%, 70%, 100%, then BAA is questionable, not the test is questionable, right? Then if I found few, what do we do with that? This is a big challenge, Jonathan, and all people have not understood. When does the test get completed? I have run a test, I have found a gap, test report prepared, we are done. No, we are not done yet. Please fix it and test that condition that didn't work. So no need to repeat the full test, but at least the condition that failed. In my coding days, then I would prepare test cases. We need to prepare test cases for a business continuity test also. So if I had 10 cases, one has failed, then only fix that and run that. Only when it is successful, then this test gets completed and gets marked closed. This deep we need to go. And in my experience, most are not doing that.
I agree. Daman.
Yeah, maybe the question comes a little later, then I'll talk more about this.
No, I have one more aspect, yes. Jonathan. So I think your question was good. But my suggestion would be, even if you are going to test whether the implemented actions are going to work now, at least, which was not working in the previous exercises, you definitely plan, but don't plan the exact same exercise or the same scenario exactly, because the actions that you are trying to validate can be validated through multiple scenarios, right? So at least ensure that it doesn't look like routine, that yes, we did the exactly same steps last time and this is what we are going to do the next time also. Not that. Change the scenario and ensure that that scenario is going to capture the things that you have implemented already and you are prepared to exercise that part as well, right? But ensure that there are nuances in that exercises so that, as Daman was saying, that something new can come out of that. So you will find that all those things that you had gap earlier, those are addressed. But then, yes, because of the type of situation or scenario that you have exercised now, it brings out a couple of new pointers for the organization to work upon, right? So you can handle or you can validate the same implementation aspects through various scenarios. So keep a different scenario, but ensure that that scenario captures the situations that you are talking, you are wanting to validate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Daman. Any other questions? Feel free to ask questions.
I have one question. In last 16 months, I come across people are doing in the record of exercise and testing. They are saying in COVID we are doing work from home, so that itself for exercise and testing. How far this can be considered? I'm sorry, I'm from certification body, so please.
Best answer would have come from you actually, but then we would learn from you. But when you have put the question to us, then we will attend. This is my say is work from home, and my views are different from many other people. So perhaps we are going into, or we have touched wrong chords also. COVID-19 pandemic, no one was prepared. In the world, no one was prepared for it. That's the first statement we need to admit. If we don't admit, then we are going away. Work from home also, what is being tested? See, I can test my RTO's RPO working from home also. Not just I'm working. That's what is people are saying, it's tested now. Actually, a client told me, Daman, stop this BCM implementation. Now we don't need this because it's work from home now. No, not for every situation. There would be some situation where you cannot work from home. And then while working from home also, you can test first. When did you fail? See, you can plan your test accordingly. Then when I was at home, so just got the message, Daman, don't come to office. There is fire in the office. You continue working from home. That's easy one, by the way. Next time, do it differently. Make a scenario that I was in office and then there was a disruption. So So Daman, now you need to go home. Let's test how does Daman reach home. Test it, please. How long does it take? Every day, it takes me 30 minutes. Today, you may take 1.5 hours also. Let's do this test. See. And then, trust me, on that day, perhaps my login wouldn't work when I reach home. So there are so many tests. It's not that work from home is blindly a test. No. We can plan, we can design, and we can do various conditions even while working from home. Test your AC also. Test your light also. The test your comfortable also. Isn't it? Your alternate arrangements needs to be as good as, all right, there will be some differences to the extent possible. You can't say, Daman, in the office you had a comfortable chair, but at home you work from your staircases. Then this is not good plan, and that can be tested. Ask Daman's observations. Don't we do that? Even if before COVID-19 pandemic, when there was no work from home and you were conducting a test, you would take some feedback after a test. Take this feedback, whether Daman was happy working from home or not, whether Daman had some challenges in working from home or not. So a lot improvement, which is the objective of the test. Improvements, a lot improvements can come even when we have been working from home. This is my response to that.
True. So I think all those situations of power outage and your AC outage and all those things should be tested. And remember that we are not just talking about when you work from home. We are not just talking about 8 hours of working, right? If your organization is still in disruption mode, you may have to work 12 hours, 24 hours a day, right? Even in that case, if you are working from home, is this sufficient for you to take care of the disruptions, or come back to recovery? If yes, maybe execute it. Right. So I think there could be a lot of scenarios that we can still do, but we cannot say that because we are working from home. I think just Daman, adding to your point, we cannot actually give a statement like because we are working from home. I don't think there is any situation or scenario required to validate the BCP, right?
Test my evacuation from home. Do I even have detection system, suppression system, the signage to exit routes and assembly area, and who does the head count? How can we say work from home is new norm? Where is the head count? Who is going to take head count if I'm working from home? Do we even have assembly areas? Big challenges. So repeating, we can still do a lot of testing even while we are working from home. Work from home blindly is not BCM test. No.
Okay. There are a couple of other questions, Daman, but in the interest of time, let me ask you one more question from my side before we jump on to the other questions.
Okay.
At least at a high level, because one of the main objective of this session was to understand how we can help our professionals. So what are the high level pointers that we can give our professionals to ensure that they are able to design, develop an effective exercise, BCM exercise, right? So from that perspective, if you can throw some light or give your pointers around this, maybe then we can take up some other questions as well after that. Yeah.
Let me share my screen also.
Okay, sure.
And I'll attempt to answer this with the help of that information security breach. Excuse me, please. You can see my screen now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So first thing first, Deepak, on this one, it's an art to design, develop, and deliver a BC test. We shouldn't take it easy. People believe anyone who has done BIA can do RA and can do strategies and can do BC plan and can do test also. It's an art. And again, example is my coding days. I was a coder. I would do my testing, unit testing, but they were specialized people, testers, who would do another level of testing. This is how specialized people. I'm repeating, art. Unit testing was me, but they were specialized people, right? There would be one who would create a test case. Mostly we use this as user testing, right? After my unit testing will be user testing and then integrated testing. There has to be someone to execute. There has to be someone who is recording, taking notes, making observations, right? I said earlier also, I could write, in those days, I could write a test. Start and jump to end, my program passes every time is successful EOG. End of job. Like, which we can do for BC test also, which is not good. Then we are fooling ourselves, I'll say, not anyone else. Okay. Going up to an extent, I'm saying, let's look at the plan itself. I find there's so much improvement required in plan itself. So quickly, this may not be 100% complete, but it's all, I'm sure it is good, very good, works, has worked, is quite close to 100%. There has to be scope for a test. We need to have objective, and objective may be different. Even if it's a poultry test, yes, I can do 10 different types of poultry tests. Work area recovery test, ITDR test, I can design different types of ITDR tests, work area recovery tests. So objective has to clear resources. And we didn't realize we need some resources. Yes, nothing comes free in this world. So even BC test is not free. Your date and time, we have touched upon that. If it's always Friday afternoon, people go home. In Middle East, it's Thursday because that's weekend. Thursday afternoon, second half, people go home. Not everyone, so I'm not challenging. But we are human beings. We cannot, should not forget that, even during BC test, that we are dealing with people. IT and building is the easiest portion, or even test of IT and building is the easiest portion. Switch off, switch on. We that with people. So when will you conduct date and time? Then your start and end points. No, never thought. But go back to my coding days again. I used to have a start and end point. Quickly, Deepak, I'll give an example. Microsoft. Question to all, and you may like to speak or you may like to type in the chat box. I would like to monitor. Do you believe, with due respect to Microsoft, I'm not sure whether some Microsoft employee also is attending here, or some lovers of Microsoft or supporters of die-hard supporters of Microsoft sitting here. So with due respect to that, do you believe that Microsoft releases a product to us with 0 defects? Yes, no, type in please. You only have 2 options. You cannot say I don't know. First one is no. Anyone else? No. 3 no's. No one is saying yes, right? We know that. Sometimes we may get, even in the product note, these are the known defects, not 0 defects, known defects, and we are still releasing. What do they do? Again, example, they release a beta version first, which has been tested internally with some defects removed and some defects still left, open to the whole world. We actually test on behalf of them, but they may have some strategy like this. Exactly, I do not know. I'm telling you the concept. Only start and end point of a test. This is why I'm discussing. This beta version will be out for 6 months. This is the plan of the test. Beta is a test Microsoft is running. Whether we find 1 defect or 1 million defects, but it will be out for 6 months. Then they will stop, fix, and release the final product. They will not fix all. They cannot fix all. Second is, we will start today, but we'll stop the moment we have got 1 million defects. Do you understand the difference? It may take 3 months to find 1 million. It may take 3 years to find 1 million, sorry. So these start and end points, along with date and time, start and end points for BC test, very important. And then exception handling. In BCM test, yes, there could be exception handling. There would be exception, there could be exception. For example, if a real incident happens during a test, but it's not written in a test plan. If it's not written in your test plan, then you will struggle at that point. So this is how.
Yeah, Naman.
Yeah.
On that, I would like to share one aspect,
Yes,
because exception handling could be when we say that the exercise itself should not become a disaster, right?
Yes.
So when we plan scenarios, we have seen that, while exercising, things go bad. And, unfortunately, I think this was about 2 years back or 3 years back. One of the evacuation drill that was being conducted in, I think it was Tamil Nadu somewhere. One lady was pushed by the instructor, saying that, why don't you jump down? And then, she collapsed because her head hit on the parapet, and then she collapsed by the time she reached hospital. Yes. And I think these are the things which are coming under that exception. So you should be ready that if during exercises there are situations like that, what are you going to do? If really a disruption or a catastrophe happened during this, what is that you are going to do at that point of time?
Yes.
So good that you have added that point.
Yes,
Go ahead,
I
please.
also give this example of same example. Then while I'm designing the test, that's the question is, see how deep we need to go. And perhaps some of us, I'm not saying none of us, some of us have not gone that deep. We have not thought. You need to write roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Not in from BC policy. Now you're talking of this particular BC test. Who will do what? Communication before, during, and after the test. It's so important. Otherwise, you may fail. Again, don't use that word fail, that's negative. That you may find challenges in conducting a test. And the moment they are challenged, you know what happens is people will start going away from you. Next time, they will not have faith in the BC test because of communication. It's good to talk. Daman, you're asking me to conduct test. This person is never happy. First, he said 7 months ago, conduct your VIA. We did. Then he said, conduct your RA. We did. Then strategy. 3 months gone in writing the plan. Today he says, conduct the test, not test your BC plan. I do not understand. Okay. They may be. Especially the moment you keep maturing. Right? You may have to train also. Daman, this is what your role. Quickly, an example. If people understand this point, I have the experience of participating in a global BC test. I don't know how many people have that experience. And the example is from London Olympics 2012. Test was simple. My role in the test was to speak one dialogue, 3 sentences, less than 1 minute. And the preparation went for 6 months. So same old principles, prepare more, spend more time in preparation. Test may take 1 hour only. Test may take 1 day only. The preparation should be weeks perhaps. And the test was, they were testing their call center. If some disaster would happen in London city during Olympics, then so many people from different countries, millions of people would be calling their central number. How would they handle that? Different accents, different languages also. And then number of calls would have increased. And I'm repeating, my role was 3 sentences, 1 dialogue, less than 1 minute. But preparations and practice for that. We did practice also before the real drill, a real test. Went for 6 months. So training is very
So
yes.
Daman, on that, sorry to interject again. On that point, can we, if I ask this question,
yeah.
Preparation, like you said, there has to be a lot of time given on preparation so that, you can do an effective exercise one.
Yes.
Is this one of the reason why most of the organizations end up doing only tabletop exercises? Because they think that, this is something with a very low risk and then it won't actually impact the organization and that. So can we say that the main reason why they do not want to spend so much time on preparation and they do not want to really concentrate on the effectiveness of that whole thing that you're going to do? Is that something which leads to the tabletop exercises? Because we don't hear many simulation exercises from organizations.
Yes, this may be the reason. Nothing comes free in this world. So generally, which organization, which top management would like to spend more time, money, and effort? First of all, I'm saying time and effort. Money will also, but at least time and effort, guessing a lot of preparation has to go. So yes, least risk, least effort in tabletop, and they continue. Then a person like me has to say, so see, you have managed to come up to, let's say, A to W, but you are not at Z yet. We say continual improvement. It seems there is no continual improvement in your test. You're doing the same type of test. It's low risk, tabletop, but at least assuring also. So whether I'm a client, internal or external, whether I'm any other interested party, if a regulator, right, or an auditor, I will not be happy with this situation that you have been conducting only the tabletops. I need to see moving up. I'm not saying in 1 month, not in 1 year. Show me the plan, please. You show me a plan of 5 years. We'll move from A to Z. I'm happy, but I'll keep coming back and see whether in 1 year you have from A to D, whether you have reached or not. If not, then again, question mark on your intentions and effectiveness. All right. So I agree with you. This could be the reason. Nothing comes free, but we need to see that it's least assuring also. Daman, I'll tell the CEO. This seems to be fine to start with, but we need to move up. Otherwise, we are not making any progress. We are stuck at the same place. This is least assuring. Theoretical. Let's put some practical. Let's put little more practical. Let's make it more complex and keep giving examples from other organizations also. That I've been going out. I'm learning from other organizations, and they have been doing like this. So we should also be take them to the standard also. If that helps, single line, but it says over a period, all plans, all people, all arrangement needs to be tested and increase your complexity. That's a good practice. If you go into good practices, we need to increase the complexity. Another challenge, Deepak, I find improvements again. It's part of designing. So far, it's designing only. We are not even gone to execution or delivery. Success criteria. How do you say whether it was successful? So first, you need to define it. And that's what the importance of writing test plan is. All this communication, training, objective, scope, success criteria should be written before I conduct the test. And while I conduct the test, then I'll be checking, did I meet criteria? I might have written that RTA should be met. So if I didn't meet the criteria, that means it was not successful. Simple. I could have written not deviating more than 10% plus minus. Then it's still okay if I'm within 10%, because that was my success criteria. No one can question me, Daman, why is this deviation? My plan was to deviate. So deviation plus minus 10% is acceptable. I'm still saying it's a good test for me. What happens before and what happens after test? We were just discussing, not just having report is okay. The report is not published to all relevant interested parties. Your login didn't work, working from home. I reached home, but login didn't work. Who will fix it? IT. But IT doesn't even know that Daman's login didn't work or the response was slow at home. Who will fix it? IT. But IT doesn't even know. So pre, I'm saying post as well. Communication in all three, pre, during, and post, and follow-ups and closure. If there is some action, then keep chasing IT. Please, you gave a week to resolve, you gave a month to resolve, or you gave 3 months to resolve, time is over. Where do we stand? And then once that fix is done, retest, pass, then we say this condition is closed over now. So that's what I'm saying. Designing is so important. Planning the test needs to take much more than the execution time of the test. Now, this is where I would like to stop on this question.
Thank you, Daman, for those insights. Before I go to Raghuveer, are you there?
Hey, Deepak.
Hi. Yeah, you had some question. I understand that. Can you please take it up? Yes.
I'll definitely do that. Thank you, Deepak, for that. And hi, Daman. Very good evening to you. This is Raghuveer, and I work with the BIL airport at Bangalore. So, yes, correct. That's right. So, one very interesting thing that I exchanged a note with Deepak yesterday when he sent the invite out was, what is the fundamental difference between BCP exercises and corporate resilience exercises?
Is this the question, or you have a little more to say before I start?
That's it. There's nothing else. This is a very straightforward question from me.
Right. Okay. While you're saying it's straightforward, it seems to be not so straightforward.
Yes.
For some reasons, which I wouldn't have any insight into, we use these different terms: resilience, business resilience, IT resilience. I have been saying corporate resilience, right? Truly speaking, I have been saying organizational resilience. Truly speaking, honestly, corporate resilience I have heard first time. So actually, I request you to first let me understand what do you mean by corporate resilience. Then I may be able to add a little more to that.
So, okay. So when I'm looking at corporate resilience, it's more like your organization resilience. I'm not, so that's just the terminology, what I used on the other way.
It becomes easy then. Yes, thanks. If we say corporate resilience is organizational resilience, then we need to see the components. I talk a lot about that also, but quickly, there may be 20 components.
Raghuveer is aware of your passion towards organizational resilience, right?
Right. Right. Okay,
That's
thanks.
a good.
Right. So if there are 20 components, some of those are quite obvious, which can be tested easily. BCM, ITDR, information security, crisis management, emergency management. So put these together, that will be a corporate BCM test. We call it, or I call it integrated test. There can be degrees of that also, right? Integrated means building people IT. Three at least, and how many? One block, one floor, whole building, whole complex. People, 1, 2, 3, 10, 10,000. IT, one application, three applications, or whole data center. So this is how it could be so complex, and we can increase that slowly over a period. We should do that. To me, that would give me a flavor of that corporate resilience test or integrated test that you mean. This, I believe that's what we are looking forward to. So when you said corporate resilience, then it will be a little difficult for me. But otherwise, we are looking at an overall picture. Very difficult. If you say all 20, spend time. Maybe I'll take 6 months to design that type of a test for an organization. I'm doing that deep. It could take even up to that long to design with the all 20 works. We'll have to think when it comes to fraud. Oh, fraud also needs to be brought into picture. There is fire, people are dead, and someone has made a fraud also, right? Financial scam. Add into that sexual harassment case also, please. We are talking of now organizational resilience. Very, very difficult, complex, not impossible. Possible for sure, yes. So that type of test, even if one organization does or asks me, even if I'm to design that type of test for an organization, even in once in 3 or 4, 5 years, I'll be happy. Once in 3, 4, 5 years, that type of test.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks, Ravi. Good one.
So, Daman, I'm taking one question from James.
Okay.
Due to the pandemic, this scenario was put to test. I mean, whatever particular scenario. However, after 1 year, auditors and customers are now asking for a detailed pandemic plan.
All right.
What topics do we need to cover for a detailed pandemic plan, apart from BCP plan, to satisfy them?
Okay.
So now, one thing that I would like to understand from James, is your objective to satisfy these people, or is the objective that how your pandemic response plan can build your next level of resilience in the organization? So if you can clarify that part, because the answers to both might be different if you just want to satisfy versus.
I like that.
James, are you there? You're on mute if you are speaking.
He says, yes, we have to satisfy the auditors. He just typed it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Good. Go ahead, Daman.
Okay. How much time do we have?
We actually are 1 minute above the timing, but I'm taking liberty of extending it by another 10 minutes, maybe.
I'll go back.
Because we just want to take all these questions.
Right. No, I'm happy. We just need to look at the audience.
Yeah. So,
I'm available. Even
guys,
if you do 1 hour extra, I don't mind.
Yes, I'm taking anticipatory bail without actually waiting for your confirmation. Sorry for that. But maybe we'll take another 10 minutes so that we could close this topic properly.
I'll go back to the previous pandemic that we had seen.
Okay.
Swine flu about 11 years ago. I was global VC manager at that time, and the pressures increased. All our clients at that point were in UK, right? And UK was also headquarters, so parent company also was in UK, and pressures increased. Someone, where is your VC plan? Pandemic plan? And I said, I don't have. Didn't have, right? No one had even perhaps heard of pandemic 11 years ago before it happened. And I don't need to have. I had a logic behind that. Pandemic will bring my people down. And during my BA, through my planning strategies and my plan, I have taken care of that. If people are not available, they are secondary. So for example, as simple as that, while there could be 4 or 5 different strategies. So someone else will work. Daman is not available. His backup would work. That's all we plan. So why do I need to have a pandemic plan separately? And this continues for 3 months. I kept saying no. So I was not arrogant BC manager, but I was saying this is fact. Pandemic will bring people down, and my plan is already taking care of people down. Case, situation, condition, and then the situation kept increasing, becoming severe, severe. People started dying also in different countries. So pressures increased on me, and also my understanding, my own understanding also increased. WHO had pandemic guidelines. At that point in time, my thought process was not matching with those guidelines. That guidelines would say there were 7 or 8 different stages of a pandemic. 7th or 8th being the most dangerous one, where even up to 70% people could be missing. So at that time, my understanding increased and pressures also increased. I created 4-page document as pandemic plan, matching with these phases of WHO. But later on, once that was over, I didn't have that pandemic plan once again, because that once again integrated within BC plan as pandemic being a special condition, where even up to 70% people may be missing, and we will follow WHO guidelines. Right? So we have different types of people. Now coming back to, I'm an auditor also. We are taught how to audit, and we are taught to be good guys. And I'm a good guy in life anyway, and I'm a good auditor also. But we will find different types of people, different types of auditors. The question, it seems, is not satisfying the auditor, not necessarily looking at the good practice, not necessarily looking at what is right. Okay, so you will have to create as simple as that. I can help. I'm just for information, I'm developing a new course around that pandemic plan development. One day we'll talk about that. Some good practices, what can be done, could be done. So that will help you. But I'm still saying it could be 3, 4, 5 pages, not more than that.
Yeah, so Jim, just to add on that, last year we were doing one implementation of BCM for a Saudi client. And as part of that, there was very specific requirement, because this organization had close to about 40,000 people across the country. It's a big government organization. And as part of that, they wanted to have a specific pandemic response plan. So we had developed that. It was very exhaustive plan, because we, the type of location that they had was different type of operations were being done, right? So as part of that, we had to ensure that those situations need to be taken care, because it's different when you have a pandemic response for just a corporate type of office, but when you have industrial offices, it needs to be a little different, right? So, a lot of things will get into that place, but what I think Daman is trying to say is, it also depends upon how frequently you are going to use that. So for example, once the COVID ends, will that organization be really working on that or exercising that plan? I'm not sure, right? But our responsibility was to ensure that because they had a huge number of manpower, they wanted to have a dedicated pandemic response plan, and we did that. So there are a lot of things that can go into that, especially from your protection perspective as well. So thank you, Daman, for that. Next question. From Suhas, how does one factor in employees with special needs during a surprise exercise or test? Good test to check how prepared an organization is with respect to such employees.
Thank you very much. I like this. This is close to my heart. Rather than answering this question straight away, perhaps I'll share experience. So once I know in summer, I don't know, okay, for about 10 years, there is something called evacuation chair. I don't know how many of us know. I don't know how many of us have seen this. I do not know how many of us have used it. So there I was learning. I keep saying I'm a lifelong learner. No one is perfect. So about 5 or 6 years ago, first time in one of the offices in Abu Dhabi, I saw evacuation chair. Good. How many do we have? Are these matching with the number of physically challenged people in the organization? I didn't know about that organization. So we need to look at that as well. Okay, on each floor, near each staircase, we have one. Okay. And then I participated in one of the evacuation drills. By chance, I was there, right? And that evacuation chair was not used in the drill. So we have not practiced. I asked this question, who can operate this? How to operate this? And then let's see how do we take it down. We should have practice that also. That's a challenge. In another evacuation drill, not from too high, that's also a challenge, by the way. We'll talk of that a little later. Just from 7th floor, right? We started evacuating. By the time we reached 5th floor, more people are coming in those stairs. It was too crowded. To me, test fails there itself. Perhaps no one has made this observation ever while we have been doing successful evacuation drills. Then someone ahead of me was walking slow. This is a challenge. While evacuating, a real disaster, people will be almost, because we are human beings, we will be scared of our lives. And that person is going slow ahead of me. And I could see he was limping. So good practices we need to take care. We need to help people. Those need people. Who are those people? Physically challenged. Those females who are pregnant. Challenges, do we even know who is pregnant and for how many months and who is physically challenged? Look at me. I'll give my own example. 2 years ago, still walk very well. There's no challenge. Physical trainings, I will never sit. I stand for 8 hours and keep moving into the audience. People wouldn't realize. But if I have to go down the stairs, I develop acute pain in my knees. No one has ever asked, how would I evacuate? I don't know. I don't have this answer myself. So very important point, and we need to take care of. First is, do we know those people? I visit your office. There is a visitor management process. Good. My name is taken, identity is taken, but no one has ever asked this question whether Daman, you are pregnant or whether you have a physical ailment. So how will you take care of me? Well, you are host, so you are responsible for my life when I am in your office. So this person walking in front of me was very slow. I noticed he was limping. I wanted to help as a good guy, but he was 4 times thicker than me. How do I help? Even if I want to help. And people behind me wouldn't know that. So they perhaps will start pushing me. Very serious issue. I don't have answer. Rather, other than that, we need to think into this seriously and keep improving little bit. First is to know. Then to have arrangement which needs to be tested. If we talk of evacuation here, for example, I'm repeating. We need to test that also, and I have not seen that being tested yet.
Okay. Thank you, Daman. I agree with you. I think this is little difficult situation where a lot of organizations, they are not very sure how to handle this, though they will have some processes in place, but it's not that mature.
Yes.
One question from Jonathan.
Okay.
Which differences, sorry. Yeah, what is the difference between exercise and test? So Jonathan, before I go to Daman, one thing if you would have realized, whenever Daman was talking, he was talking about failing. He would utter that word fail, and then I would say, probably I should not be using that word, right? So this is the difference, because the moment you say test, there is an expectation that result has to be in pass or fail. But when there is an exercise, the gaps is something that comes out as an opportunity for improvement, right? So if we call that, we did a BCP test, so the expectation is, okay, did it pass or fail? To my experience, wherever I have been consulting, I tell them don't use that word test, because that gives you an expectation that, okay, fail means people think that, okay, everything is gone for toss. It's not that way. Everything worked fine, and these are a couple of opportunities for the improvement that you have listed, 1, 2, 3. We have to improve on this, right? So that is the biggest reason why I propagate saying that do not use that word as test. You can still use that test when you are talking about technical things like ITDR. There could be one particular point that check this server is up and running, right? So you say yes, maybe this is passed. That is okay. But when you are talking about the overall BCP exercises, I think you should talk not from pass or fail, rather about the gaps that you have found and improvement opportunity. That is the objective of exercise. Objective of exercise is not to go and tell management we passed or we failed. No. We did, everything worked well. These are to the 2 or 3 things that came up as an additional finding. So that would be my some couple of pointers. But Daman, go ahead, please.
First is, yes, I agree with you, Deepak. But again, if you go to dictionary, Jonathan will find some difference in test and exercise, which Deepak has attempted to say, yes, this is what is. I go up to an extent, especially if the beginning of the journey. Keep it simple, please. Both are same. Assume both are same. Objective is not to find fault, whether it is test or whether it is exercise. Objective is to look for improvements. If we understand this, then call it test or call it exercise. Similar, people say, what is the difference between training and awareness? Keep it simple, it is training, right? But go deep as we measure, there is a difference also. One is by amount also. Awareness is small, training is little large. Awareness is simple, training is little complex. Similarly, we can perhaps think of test and exercise also. So there are totally different ways of differentiating those. Objective is same, not to find faults. This is Daman's plan, that's why it failed. This is Daman's plan, that's why it's not working. No, objective is to find improvements possible. Deepak, whenever you want to close, I'll request 2 minutes lastly for me.
Sure. I'll just take one last question because Kumar has sent one question. It is a challenge, in fact, to know who are physically challenged considering the privacy concerns.
Oh,
Would
yes.
it be worthwhile to make it mandatory to reveal their status?
Right. Okay. So give me one extra hour, please. Case is live, a real case. I was conducting crisis simulation exercise for an organization, top management in Abu Dhabi, and one person got upset with me. The point was, how will we evacuate? We need to evacuate empty-handed as it is. Leave everything, just evacuate. And he said, Daman, you don't understand our culture. I said, yes, you would understand it better than me. I respect, but I also understand a little bit. Tell me, please, what is the point? Some discussion, and he was offended or angry, and he left the room. Then people told me, Daman, he was our CEO. Oh my God. The point was, he says, Daman, our ladies, when they come, he was giving an example. Daman, think of a wedding. When they come from home, they are covered. But when they reach the hall, they remove that, and there is a different cloth inside. And now you are saying they need to move out without that cover cloth, which is kept somewhere else in the corner. Yes, it's a matter of life and death. He wouldn't understand. People, when he left out, Daman, we agree with you, but he was CEO, we couldn't say this in front of him. And I have discussed this point even with females there in those countries, all Middle East countries, wherever I've been. They say, Daman, we agree with you, but perhaps someone else, especially the male factor, may not agree with this. One real case, someone said, Daman is Saudi. There was fire, lady was alone at home, and she was actually taking bath. So fire brigade reached, they had to break, and they had to bring her out, and husband reached home by the time, and he was so angry. Started shouting at them, and they had said, we have saved your wife's life. We are taking care of her. After some time, he would understand. So asking this in the name of privacy, Daman, if you don't tell, we will not be able to take care of your life. Whether you're pregnant or whether you're physical challenge, we are taking. What is that privacy rule says? You can use the information that you have collected from me about me for the purpose that you have collected for. So tell me while you're asking this, that this will be used only in that case. If there is a disaster and if we need to take care of you, then we will utilize this. I should be happy. If I don't, then clearly we are not able to take care of your life. Simple. So in the name of saving lives, we are collecting this information. This is above privacy, according to me.
Okay. There are two more questions, but I think we are falling short of time.
So I wouldn't mind, Deepak, if you tell me the questions, we can get back to them later. I will write the answer.
Correct. Because we need to respect everyone's time.
Understood.
So on that, because it was planned for only up to 7 o'clock, it's already 7:17 now.
Yes.
So I think Anita and Manoj will get back to you with those answers. But in the interest of everyone's time, I don't want to take these two questions as of now. Sorry for that. Apologies. And I will get back to you, but for sure with those answers. Daman, I think you wanted to have 2 minutes.
Yes, just 2 minutes.
Yes, please.
For everyone. If you can share the date for everyone. We are coming out with this course, design, develop, and deliver an effective BCM test for your organization. So if you tell them the date, I would just quickly like to show few points about the features of that course.
Okay, fine. So the date that we are planning, guys, is the week of second week of August. Exact date is not yet finalized, so
Right.
we'll work on that. Okay, but the effectiveness part of the BCM exercises is something that we are going to talk about for those 2 days. That will be the content of the course. So people who are interested to get more information and how exactly it has to be designed and all would be something that would, I mean, they can come and then they can register for the course. Yes, Daman, please go ahead. I think we need to close this soon.
2 days course. Key features I'm just displaying: depth and coverage, 2D, hands-on practical experience, as I have been doing in any other course that I have been designed by me, delivered by me. Pre-post course mentoring. This is complementary as we had done for other courses also, and lifelong learning, by the way, through alumni group also, which we will start creating. 15 exercises in 2 days. This is how it's practical. Case study based discussions. At the end, you will be able to have your own quick, dirty, because it's only 2 days we are spending, but quick, dirty, your own test approach and test plan. We will be doing role plays. This is how we'll be learning from each other. And then lifelong learning, all complementary, as I've said. There'll be an exam, 25 questions, all multiple choice questions, and you'll get 30 minutes to do that. Quickly, just have a look at the feedback from the last batch. They were experts sitting in the session. If they say, Daman, this was eye-opener and it had value, then I feel happy. So this is what you can look forward to. Daman, you took us minute. They have been doing BC tests for so many years, but still they was happy. Eye-opener, went to the details, minute details, and it had value for us. I'm happy then. My day, my 2 days are made then. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Daman. So yes, guys, people who are interested, we are going to have this course. I'll soon let you know when the dates are going to be.
If you can launch this poll, please. Quickly.
Come again, sorry?
If you can launch this poll.
Yeah, of course. I'll do that. So, people who are interested, they can write back. And then let me launch this poll.
We hope the discussions were useful, but poll in front of you.
Yes.
No one is perfect in this world. Even if you say no, it's acceptable to us. We'll look forward to improvement.
Yes, of course. We are open for that feedback as well.
Yes, thanks. Yes, and I would like to have more information about this. You can say no also. We wouldn't mind. We'll look forward to improvement within ourselves also. Enough. Deepak, perhaps you can close and share the results.
Yes.
And we'll take action according to your response. Sure. Repeatedly, Deepak has said that already. If you have any questions, even after now we are closing, please feel free to write through Deepak or directly to me. We'll be happy to come back to you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Daman, for your time, and thank you everyone for spending your time today. I hope this was useful to you. And of course, we are looking for many such sessions even in coming forward. Daman, you have wanted to say something?
Picture. I always say at the end of
yeah, but I don't want to ask them because I'm not sure if people would be comfortable in. If you are comfortable, you can come on video so that we can take that picture. But if you are not comfortable, I mean, stay the way you are, no issues. Okay, so having said that, I think there were a couple of good questions that were asked by yourself, and then we hope that we have answered to the best of our knowledge and experience. Some of those questions, unfortunately, because of the paucity of time, we couldn't take it up, but we'll ensure that we come back to you on those as well.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you so much again, and I'm going to take one snapshot of the screen. So again, people who are okay to come on the screen, please be there. And yeah, so Suhas is smiling. Let me take a picture now.
Everyone should. Yes.
Of course. Okay, let's give another 1 minute just in case people are.
I'm happy. More than 50% cameras are on.
Yes. And Okay, so ready? I'm taking that. Viraj, you have gone back out of camera. Come back on camera. I'm going to take it up now. Viraj, yeah. Okay, guys. So
Best smiles.
thank you. I've taken that.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
everyone.
much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Deepak. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Thank
Stay
you.
in
Take
touch.
care.
Keep
Have a good
asking.
evening. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.